Welcome back to another episode of Music is My Mantra. Today I have a very special guest, Ruth Goncalves, and Ruth is the frequency DJ. But Ruth is not spinning vinyl. She's curating soundscapes that rewire your nervous system. Using DJ mixed healing frequencies and a voice that cuts to the core of your soul's blueprint, she shakes loose stored trauma with beats synced to your heartbeat. It's sound medicine. Welcome to the
Hi.
show.
Yes, thanks for having me.
I'm so excited to go deeper in our chat today. Um, I know when we just first connected, we had initially some similar, I won't say, I'm afraid to say similar because I think we had probably very different upbringings, but it's generally similar experiences of sort of finding ourselves throughout the different constructs. And so, um,
Yeah.
with that, I first of all, you're joining us from Spain, right?
Yes, I'm in the south of Spain. Very,
Awesome.
very blessed to be here. Um,
Amazing.
yeah, just looking after my mum now because she lives in Spain. I traveled from Australia to be here to look after her. So not a bad place to have to come, for sure.
Well, I hope you're enjoying the summer there at least.
It's definitely warm,
Yeah,
but I love the heat, so it's
that's good.
perfect.
That's
Yeah.
good. So originally, what part of Australia are you from?
Western Australia. Well, I was born in Sydney in New South Wales, and then my parents and I moved to Perth when I was 7, and then I grew up in Perth, which
Okay,
is other side of Australia, Western Australia. So
cool.
very beautiful part of the world.
Yeah, I haven't been to that side. I've just been to Sydney.
Oh,
So,
really?
I want to go
Yeah.
back at some point,
Sydney's
but
Sydney's great, but yeah, WA is it's stunning,
mm,
really stunning. Yeah.
cool. And so tell us a little bit how you got started into frequencies and became the frequency DJ.
Yeah. Well, basically, I was kind of at a stage of my life where I was delving into spirituality a little
Mm-hmm.
bit. I was kind
Mm-hmm.
of dipping my toes in. And it's coming from a religious background where, to cut a really long story short, it was quite traumatizing for me as a
Mm-hmm.
child growing up in those surrounds. I pretty much cut off anything to do with, you know, religion, spirituality, God,
Mm-hmm.
the Bible, etc., etc. And yeah, so for most of my adult life, I was not interested,
Yeah.
basically. And yeah, I don't, I can't really pinpoint why it sort of started
Mm-hmm.
for me, but I was kind of, you know, as I said, dipping my toes in small chunks at a time, and just feeling my way around a little bit and cautiously.
Yeah.
And a friend of mine that I was living with asked me if I wanted to go to a sound bath, and I
Mm-hmm.
was like, I don't know what that is. I have no idea what that is, but it sounded kind of cool. It was a friend of hers that made all her own music. She composed all the songs, but did it all in 432 hertz. And she would sing as well. Apparently, she had a beautiful voice, and I was like, I'm into music. I'm down. I'll check it out, whatever
Yeah.
this sound bath thing is. And I just remember like being laying down on the floor at this session,
Mm-hmm.
surrounded by all these other people. We're all just laying there, taking it all in. And I just start feeling this like stirring in my torso,
Mm.
like literal physical movement inside my torso. Like never felt anything like it before. And I was just like, what is that?
Yeah.
So weird. But I just kind of like let it go, kept, had my eyes closed and just enjoying the music because it was beautiful, right?
Mm. Mm-hmm.
And, I wasn't like no particular emotions overcame me or anything, but all of a sudden, I just have these tears just
Mm,
streaming down, like the back towards the back of my head because I was laying down and I was just
yeah.
like, what is that? Like, what is happening? Why am I crying right
It
now?
was
It's
touching
so
you.
strange.
Yeah.
Yeah. Clearly it was shifting some energy
Mm-hmm.
within, and I was releasing, right?
Yeah.
That's all I can put it down to.
Yeah.
I had no idea that that was even possible.
Mm.
And I kind of just sat up and I just kept crying, like I was kind of sobbing like
Mm.
during this sound bath. And I was
Yeah.
like trying not to, disturb anyone else. But yeah, that was my first experience of,
Mm.
frequency music. And I was so blown away by what had happened that I started delving deep into frequency music and, pretty much anything that was related to it and where it came from and why it does what it does.
Yeah.
And eventually I bought my own sound bowl and I really connected with it. And while I would practice at home, I would start like I didn't know what it was at the time, but I
Mm-hmm.
just started to channel, like with the bowl.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt like I was the first time that I kind of did that. It was like I was backed up by all these angels, like just
Mm.
singing with me.
Wow.
And
That just gave me chills.
it's just like, wow, like I feel like this is what I'm supposed to do. Like I
Mm.
feel like this is me now. Like
Mm-hmm.
this is me. And yeah, it's had, a few evolutions and stuff. But yeah, I'm creating frequency music now. I do live sound healings and yeah, it's how I became the frequency DJ basically.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing. What
Yeah,
was the very first bowl? Like what frequency did you start with?
it was a 432 hertz
Is that A?
bowl and it was in the key of E,
Okay.
18 inches wide. It was a big sucker. Yeah.
Nice.
But I really like because I had the chance, like when I went to buy my first bowl, this guy in his backyard, and he
Mm.
just had like all these different instruments and bowls to choose from. And I just kind of sat and played each bowl just to see like how it resonated.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And of course, it had to be the biggest and most expensive bowl. But I just sat in front, I was just playing with it, and it was just incredible. So I bought
That's
that
so
one.
cool.
Yeah,
Awesome.
yeah.
I I have a few sound bowls myself. You can see them
Mm-hmm. Mm.
here or yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's interesting. Like I just started getting them on Amazon and I feel like I sort of skipped over that experience where you really do connect with the instrument, which when I've gotten my guitars, every single one of them has been more of that like really feeling it. Like they always say that like the guitar actually chooses you, you know?
Right.
Um
Yes.
so I feel like that I still feel like I get benefits from my bowls over here, but one day I want to go into an actual store and
Mm-hmm.
play
Mm-hmm.
and choose one.
Yeah, definitely recommend that. I mean, like because I had to sell the bowl that I had,
Mm,
that bowl in Australia before I moved over here because I had all these instruments and stuff, but I
yeah,
couldn't bring everything over with me, so
sure.
just pretty much sold everything off. And now I've had to purchase another one
Mm,
because my partner and I are doing a retreat near Barcelona in September, and I'm doing like the sound for that. And like having a bowl is instrumental
yeah,
in conducting my sound healing sessions, right?
yeah.
So I was like, I've got to buy a bowl. But for some reason, Spain is just incredibly hard to find large singing bowls.
Mm,
I don't know why.
yeah.
Even online. people don't sell them in stores. Like it's always like really small bowls and stuff. And I'm like, no, like I need the big,
Yeah.
like, and so I had to like really search, and I found something like by a guy in a store in the next town up, and he has to order it from Germany,
Oh,
and it's
wow.
like, yeah, a whole thing. But I had to go on like,
A
I don't
quest
know.
to find it.
Yeah, just I'm going to trust that the one I'm picking is like it's good for me and it's going to be good for everyone. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Has it arrived
not
yet?
yet.
Okay.
No, this one's even bigger.
Oh,
So
wow.
yeah.
Oh, that's
So
so
it's going to
cool.
be interesting. Yeah, it's a CF. He said it was.
Okay. Cool.
I
Do you
didn't.
do you go by, because I've seen some layouts of different drawings where they actually will associate the chakra with a specific note, but
Mhm.
I don't know if that is really true, or if that's just kind of something that it's, because there's seven of them, seven chakras, seven like core notes, if you will, that
Yes.
I would
Yeah.
love to hear your perspective since, yeah.
Well, I mean, I will always say that I'm not an expert in this topic whatsoever because it is so incredibly vast and deep, and
Yeah.
uh, at some point you're going like quantum,
Hmm.
there's like
Totally.
physics and extreme maths, and I'm like my brain doesn't go that far. I appreciate it and I respect it, but I tend to basically go on what I feel and what drops in for me,
Hmm.
and I'm always open to being incorrect,
Yeah,
in the stuff that I learn, where, we're always finding out new stuff.
totally.
And yeah, like I'm open to changing my mind on things, right? That being said,
Yeah.
um, I I I do kind of go on the whole solfeggio, frequencies and using those four chakras. I don't know if you saw by going into, you said you were listening to the focus track earlier.
Hmm.
I do have all the chakra related solfeggio tracks, like one for every chakra. And they're not soundscapes. They're music that I created. So going on the particular key for that particular chakra, right?
Cool. I
And
haven't yet been able to get into that, but I'm excited to dive in. We're talking about,
yeah,
for the listeners out there, this is the Frequency DJ's Bandcamp page. So
yes, I have Bandcamp and Insight Timer as well, which is a really
cool.
cool app. But yeah, so like when I don't know if those particular frequencies and notes, like if it's because there's no real science, like
Hmm.
actual science behind it, right? So I can't say yes, the key of F is for the heart chakra or
Yeah.
whatever. This particular frequency is solely for the heart chakra.
Hmm.
I feel like more than anything, intention and belief
Yeah.
overrides anything that we know
Hmm.
or that we think we know, right? So if I think and if I believe that 639 hertz is specifically for the heart chakra, and it will help recalibrate the heart chakra,
Hmm.
and if my intention while I listen to something that is in that frequency is for it to do that specifically,
Yeah.
then I feel like my intention and my belief is going to override any kind of science,
Mm. Yeah.
or fact, or whatever there is on that particular thing.
Yeah.
Uh, there is a lot of, you go to if you're doing research on that stuff, like you'll
Hmm.
see a lot of pages that go the solfeggio notes, those particular frequencies for those particular chakras, right?
Yeah.
Whether that's an exact science, I don't know.
Yeah.
But for now, that it is my belief that that works, and it does work, because when I intend it to work,
Yeah.
then it works for me, because my belief that it works overrides anything
Mm.
else, right?
Yeah. Well, and I think,
Like, does that make sense?
yeah, totally. I mean,
Yeah,
our
yeah,
beliefs sort of dictate our reality, right? So I don't know about the research, but I feel like there's I definitely know that there is more and more research coming out on
yeah,
sound and frequencies like all the
yeah,
time. So yeah, at some point I'll, you know, this whole podcast is just to explore
for
that
sure.
area,
Yeah,
right? So
yeah, yeah,
if that's something that works for you and you know that you're helping other people by providing that, then that's the results speak louder than the how or why,
exactly.
right?
Absolutely.
So,
Yeah, and there is actual scientists doing the work
mhm.
on frequencies, and there is science out there. Yeah, but there's not a lot of science, and there's not a lot of science that covers, on chakras and frequencies related to chakras and stuff like that.
Mm,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, I personally started listening to different frequencies without even really knowing
Mm.
that like anything about them.
Yeah.
Mostly for studying and focus. So that I think that's why that was the first one I chose on your page because also this well, I'd say this week, but also this month and this year seems to just be a little bit crazy. So, you know, we could all use a little more focus. At least I know I could. But that was probably around 2017,
Mm.
2018. And it was binaural beats.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah, for sure.
yeah, so that was sort of my first introduction to frequencies and you know, especially like if I was working at the computer or in a coffee shop or something, like sometimes it's really easy for me to get like pulled into somebody else's conversation or something, so I would just listen to those and lock in and you
Yeah.
know.
I would do the same thing. I've got a an app that's called Brainwave Advanced Binaural Programs.
Mm.
And yeah, like, you literally choose what you want
Oh,
out of the
cool.
list here. So it's like anything from, espresso shot in the morning, focus alert, to problem solving, to creativity, to
Mm.
positive moods, stress reduction, anger relief, power nap, meditation, and this is binaural. So, which I've actually started implementing in my tracks as
Oh, that
well.
was going to be my next question. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because I feel like more than, I mean, like listening to a track with like a steady sine wave frequency,
Hmm.
like embedded like underneath, say for example, like I use in my tracks where I'll have like a recorded nature soundtrack over the top, and I'll
Yeah.
have the either sine waves or binaural underneath.
Hmm.
And more than the single sine waves, and your unconscious and your body and your energy picking up on the sine wave that's playing underneath,
Mm.
and it affecting your frequency.
Yeah.
More than that, I feel like binaural is probably a little bit more powerful,
Mm.
just because your brain does the thing where it takes the frequency that it's playing on the left hand headphone,
Hmm.
and then it takes away the number of the frequency which is different on the right side, and then it leaves it actually. So for example, I'm not explaining this very well. So binaural beats, I'm sure you know how they work already,
It
but maybe for listeners at
Yeah,
home,
yeah. I'd love for you to
it's
explain it.
basically, say for example, I want my brain to go into 14 hertz, right? Because
Okay.
14 hertz helps focus.
Mm-hmm.
So I will take 444 hertz
Mm-hmm.
and I will play that frequency in this ear. And in this ear, I will play 430 hertz. So the brain, what that does is it takes those two separate frequencies and it takes the 430 from the 444 hertz,
Mm-hmm.
and what's left is 14 hertz. And that's the wave that your brain will go into, right? The 14 hertz. That's what's creating your focus, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's the 14 hertz that remains when you take this side from this side. So that's binaural.
So it's like,
That's basically
yeah, stimulating,
binaural.
and your brain is doing math unconsciously, basically. I
Yeah,
guess in one
absolutely.
way.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, that's how you could look at it for sure. And I feel that because the brain naturally has to do that when you're playing two different frequencies, then it's a much powerful way for your brain to get into the particular state that you're looking for,
Mm.
right? Whether that's deep sleep, whether that's focus, whether that's energy, whether that's, anger relief, whatever it is.
Yeah.
You can create that just by playing specific two different frequencies that when you take away one from the other, it creates that particular brainwave in
Cool.
yeah in your brain.
So, have you experimented with them live as well when you're performing?
I haven't actually used binaural at all live
Yeah.
because
I'd imagine you would need like headphones or something.
yes, which I haven't implemented during my live sessions as of yet. There's been, my partner and I have talked about it, but we haven't done that yet. And
Yeah.
yeah, just something I haven't done yet. But I mean, never say never. I
Yeah.
might actually start doing it, but haven't used binaural at all yet. Just pretty much like frequency sine waves, either by themselves, for example, by playing a bowl, or by playing a track that I've created that has sine waves underneath. I do that as well. So yeah, who knows? It's
Yeah.
ever evolving.
Yeah.
So
Well,
I might
as
have an orchestra at some point. I don't know.
that would be so cool.
That would be amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's like a dream one day to sing with a whole
Mm.
orchestra.
Yeah. Oh, can you imagine the feeling
Yeah. I mean,
just to have that behind you? Like,
talk about
incredible.
angels supporting you, right? Just like with
Yes.
those voices. What
Yes, absolutely.
when you're giving your performances and working with people, do you get them to sing along, or how does that look like in your session?
No, it's basically
More of
like
listening experience.
listening with their ears and also their bodies
Yeah.
are doing listening as well. But yeah, no, we actually, funnily enough, my partner and I, one of previous retreats that we did in the south of Western Australia with a wonderful group of women, we decided to pick specific songs
Hmm.
uh, and handed the words out to everybody, and we all sung together. And it was just like such an incredibly
Hmm.
uplifting and moving experience, especially when you choose the right songs.
Yeah.
It's going to touch people, just in that way. It was just such a beautifully heart centered and bonding experience
Mm.
between the women. Yeah. And
Awesome.
I think we're going to probably do that in this September retreat as well, because it was such an incredible feeling. And it just lifts everybody up so much.
Yeah.
And it's just another, really, singing is just another form of sound healing, especially when you're really feeling it, you're getting into it, and
Totally.
everything is part of singing the song. And it's not only your voice, it's like your whole body
Yeah.
is involved as well. And it can be a really healing experience.
Yeah. And you're like co-regulating with everybody that you're singing along with.
Yeah, heart resonance is huge with that as well, because you're in a group in like a small or not so small room,
Yeah.
but like everybody's heart resonance is interacting with everybody else's heart resonance. I'm not sure if you've heard about how it gives off like a particular uh, energy,
Mm.
and that heart energy actually extends about 2 meters out all
Okay.
around the heart, right? So
Yeah.
whenever you're in a room in next to someone in close proximity to someone, or you're at a bus stop in
Mm.
close proximity to a complete stranger,
Yeah. You
your heart
feel it.
resonance is actually it's interacting with that stranger's heart resonance. And then when you're doing something that actually locks you guys in together, like so singing the same song,
Mm-hmm.
that you're connecting, you're literally connecting your energy and your heart resonance with whoever else you're doing that with, and it's incredible.
That's why another reason why it feels so good.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Mm.
Mm.
I guess is that similar to your, aura or like energetic field? Is that kind of similar?
I, I think heart resonance is one thing,
Yeah.
energetic field is another, but I think it's all because it's all coming from you and your body, like it's
Yeah.
all going to be intertwined and
Yeah. The
and
heart
stuff
is
like
like the
that.
main vessel, I guess.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, like again, I'm not an expert on that stuff, so
Yeah.
yeah, maybe ask an expert on that.
Well,
I
you're my
mean,
expert today, so thank you for sharing what you
oh,
what you do have to share
I'll do
with
my
us.
best. I'll give you what I think I know anyway.
Yeah, no, you're doing great. I wanted to go back to the moment when you first started getting into sound healing
Mm,
and you went to that sound bath.
yeah.
Where and like you said, it doesn't have to be a specific moment in time, but
Mm,
what were some ways that you felt a shift in your life before and after? And maybe what was another way that you like it sounded like that opened you up quite a bit.
mm. The
Um,
sound.
yeah.
Yeah. So you're asking me moments like before the sound bath where I felt more open, or like there was
Well,
some sort of shift, or
yeah, so like after you had that experience, did it inspire you to seek out other ways of healing or modalities or spirituality?
I was so just before the sound bath, I was already kind of dipping my toes into spirituality and
Hmm.
stuff. You know, like learning about Reiki and, going, getting, like Reiki done and stuff like that. Yeah. And then I did what's it called? A 10-day Vipassana
Oh,
meditation. Yeah.
cool.
And so do you know much about Vipassana?
So that's like you don't talk to anybody, right? For 10 days and
Yeah, it's
you eat like a
silent.
very like healthy meal they provide usually.
Yes,
And
yes. Pay by donation at the end. It's yeah, but
I've heard
like
that that can be super transformative.
yeah, it was really intense, and I formed some friendships,
Mm.
like new spiritual friends from it as well. So yeah, that was towards the start of my spiritual kind of journey as
Mm.
well.
Were you meditating already at that point?
Yes, I'd been
Okay.
meditating for years at
Mm.
that point, but a 10-day silent meditation is like beyond,
Yeah.
anything that I had experienced before that. And the fact that, I always kind of had trouble sitting cross-legged
Mm.
for long periods of time. It would be like it'd get to a point would get quite uncomfortable,
Yeah.
and I'd start getting pain in my right hip and that sort of stuff. And at the Vipassana, they would do like, I can't remember what they called it now, but it was literally you had to sit for an hour cross-legged, not move,
Mm.
do your Vipassana meditation. And at that point, that I thought that was an hour sitting cross-legged was like too much. Um, and it came to the day where you had to do this 1 hour, not move, like strict 1 hour, no movement
Yeah.
meditation, and kind of worked myself up to do it. And while I was doing it, it was like that pain in my right hip
Mm.
started, right? And it was just so, it ended up being like really, really intense.
Mm.
And I was just like breathing, like trying to breathe through it. And I was like sweating profusely,
Yeah.
just like trying, like all hell not to move,
Mm.
right? Because I was
Yeah.
just trying to do this thing right, because I'm trying to get this spirituality thing right, like
Yeah.
when you first kind of trying out all this stuff, you think there's a way to do it, and you have to do it a certain way for you to actually get the results that you think you're supposed to get.
Yeah.
Like you have all these weird things in your head about what spirituality is meant to look like, right?
Yeah.
And so I'm just like sweating bullets,
Oh
like
man.
the pain is increasing, tears start running down my
Oof.
face because like the pain is so intense. But I got through it. Finished the hour, and I was like, wow, like I did it. Like,
Yeah.
yay, me, pat myself on the back. Like I
Yeah.
had no profound, like I think I probably did have some stuff drop in or whatever. I can't remember what it is right now. But yeah, that was that, like maybe for me that was something later on, now that I've said that came to me, that was like spirituality doesn't actually look like anything in
Mm.
particular, like it's like you come from a world where you have to fit in a box,
Yeah.
otherwise you're seen as strange or weird or crazy, some type of crazy, or like you don't think the government's looking after us. Oh, that's so weird. Of course the government's looking after us. Like like just, and I always thought out of the box, but I guess I masked a lot throughout my life because I was like, I gotta at least pretend like I fit in, because
Mm.
that's what you do, right? You
Yeah.
have to look
Yeah.
like everybody else,
That's yeah, you're trained, like we're trained to go to school and be competitive and be, fall in line and do the things and get the grades and
and
yeah.
learn the useless things that they teach you at
Yeah.
school as well. Just
Yeah.
like, I mean, maths, sure, like it's good to kind of add and subtract or whatever. And you need to kind of read stuff. Like, I understand that. But, like, yeah, just don't get me into the school
Yeah,
system. Like,
yeah.
we won't go down that road. But
That we could go on a whole tangent there,
I
probably.
think I already started going on a tangent, and I'm sorry, I do this all the time. I kind
No,
of
it's
like start thinking about, like one thing will spark this other thing, and I'll just go down that. And then I won't know how to loop back because I've forgotten what the original point was.
we were talking about like moments that helped you transform it into who you are today,
Okay.
essentially.
Yeah.
And that,
Moments. Yeah. Sorry, go on.
no worries. That experience where you're saying like you thought spirituality had to look a certain way or be a certain way is probably, something you learned from growing up and
Yeah.
unconsciously or consciously. So I think, it's pretty profound. Like, even though you're saying, okay, I just sat there for an hour and nothing happened, but actually you survived this thing that you didn't think that you could
Yep.
do. And so the profound thoughts were seemingly that, you're stronger than and like coming back to what you're saying about the mind and your beliefs, and it's like you believed that you could sit there and get through it, and you did,
Yeah.
and
Even though it was excruciating, I managed to sit
yeah.
through the pain. And the passion is actually really incredible in the way that it teaches you that pain is just like an electrical signal
Mm.
that you can turn up and turn down. if you want to. And it's not, and yeah, it's definitely there for a reason. It's there for our survival, like,
Yeah.
if we've cut our wrist accidentally, we know to like cover it up
Yeah.
because it's in pain and there's a lot of blood coming out. We know we need to do something about that. But there is certain pain that develops due to traumas, whether they're physical or emotional or
Mm-hmm.
things like that, where you don't, it's not necessarily when you feel those particular types of pain,
Yeah.
it can stop you in your tracks and it can stop you from making changes
Mm.
that you need to make in order to make the next step into growth, right?
Yeah.
Um, and it's really interesting that we live in a society that we are so focused on not feeling pain in such a way where so many of us are like drowning in other things just not to feel
Yeah.
those, either whether it's emotional pain or physical pain or mental pain,
Yeah.
psychological pain or whatever. We're always trying to mask it
Mm-hmm.
or drown it with other things, so that we don't have to
Absolutely.
feel it. But it's actually feeling the pain that is transformative. That
Yeah.
is where you change. That is where, when you sit in your pain and you just feel it, instead of trying to push it away, push it down,
Yeah.
drink it, pop a pill,
Yeah. Yeah.
smoke it, whatever it is,
Mm-hmm.
that you sit through it, you feel it, and you get to the other side.
Yeah.
That's the point. When you get to the other side, that's an incredible moment where a lot of the time that pain just needed to be seen. It just
Yeah.
needed to be felt in order for it to disappear.
Yeah.
Um,
Do you
I
find that
guess
you're you're able to sit cross-legged now? I mean, I feel like that's a metaphor for a much like a lot of other things in life, but just
for sure.
curious after that experience.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I can sit down for, yeah, like cross-legged for ages now if I choose to. Like, it's fine.
Yeah.
And if I feel the pain, like I'll sit in it, and I can either envision a pain knob
Mm.
in my head, and just kind of turn it down or turn it off. And it's incredible. It
Wow.
works. Like, so, which for me comes
Mm-hmm.
back to belief and, the power that belief actually has over us and our lives,
Yeah.
and, how beliefs actually create our life and what we
Yeah.
are surrounded by.
Was
Did
that
I go
some
on a tangent? I feel like I
No,
did.
no, no, you're good. Was that something that they taught you that visual representation in Vipassana? Because
No, I think I learned it somewhere else,
that's a cool
but yeah,
visualization.
it's incredible. It works. You have to believe it works, otherwise it won't work. But
Yeah. Yeah.
that's the catch-22. But my belief, ironically, is that we live in a belief-based reality.
Mm.
So it depends on what I believe, whether that's conscious or unconscious, how my reality looks. And at one point, my reality looked very different than what it looks today
Yeah.
because of who I was as a person and my belief system back then.
Is this like going to your childhood and the belief system that you were sort of indoctrinated into? Or, yeah.
Yeah, for
Okay.
sure, for sure. And you know what? Even though that was what feels like another lifetime ago, or probably several lifetimes ago, I'm still healing from that time and unlearning belief systems from that time.
Yeah.
Even though I've done a lot of healing and a lot of learning since then,
Yeah.
and a lot of unlearning since then, and relearning new things and new ways to be. It's insidious
Mm.
how it just gets right in there, like the indoctrination, the brainwashing. It's
Mm.
it's it's really deep, and it can last your whole lifetime, especially if you don't want to look at it. It'll definitely last a lifetime.
Yeah.
But
That's
if
coming back to that pain and looking at it and feeling it, right?
yeah, yeah,
Through
absolutely.
it.
And
Yeah.
sometimes I don't want to look at my pain, you know, like
Yeah,
I'm I'm just as human as everybody else. Like,
totally. What was one of the first things, and maybe it was meditation, because it sounds like that's been a practice that has been with you for a while, but coming out of, I don't think I've mentioned it, but when we were getting like prepping for this call, you told me that you grew up as a Jehovah's Witness.
mhm.
And so what I can imagine, like you said, you've come through lifetimes to evolve and to become the person you are today. So what did that look like in the beginning? Like, we don't have to go too deep into it here, but maybe just to give the listeners an idea of like, was there a moment that you remember that you found meditation and that clicked for you, or was there something else that helped you? I'm sure that there were lots of different things, so
Yeah,
maybe it's
there
hard to pinpoint, but if like, do you think meditation was one of the first things that you found?
I would have to say that exercise was the
Okay,
first that I
cool.
found. Yeah, that was the turning point to me changing my life
Mm,
because I was kicked out of the church
mm,
when I was 16 or 17, can't remember which,
mm,
one of those two. And I basically, I went from a complete bubble
mm,
that was being a Jehovah's Witness,
mm-hmm.
not knowing at all much about the world, right?
Yeah,
Because you're encouraged to repel anything that is worldly, quote unquote worldly, that is not, that doesn't come from the Jehovah's Witness teachings,
mm,
right? So everything that wasn't Jehovah's Witness based was basically you weren't allowed to talk about or research or look into or
mm,
discuss or nothing like that, right? So I went from that bubble, got kicked out, and then basically I was like, awesome, freedom.
yeah,
I can now see what the world's really about. And
yeah,
I swear I was just like this because I was so sheltered.
mm-hmm.
I was like a really young 17-year-old. Like I was probably like the mind of a 12, 13-year-old in a 17-year-old.
Mm,
And then I went out into the world wanting to experience everything that I wasn't allowed to
mm,
experience, going absolutely crazy with it all because it was like a brand new playground, all
yeah,
this freedom that I always craved and never got.
mm,
I could finally have.
yeah,
So I basically went from good girl to opposite end of, the extreme opposite
party
end.
girl.
Yeah, basically, right? And then I was in rock bands and as a lead singer, and you can imagine all the stuff that went along with that, the booze, the drugs,
Yeah,
the people, the whatever, and the absolute hedonism. And that was me for most of my 20s. And then it was in my early 30s, so maybe like 31, 32,
yeah,
where the drugs and the alcohol and the partying stopped working.
mm,
Like it wasn't fun anymore.
yeah,
Like I
yeah,
would I would do the line or drink the shot or have the sex or whatever it was,
yeah,
and I was just like I felt nothing. Like
mm,
it was kind of like my normal, like that was just my baseline was that
yeah,
stuff, and I was just this shell of a
mm,
human, you know,
wow,
always suppressing everything and glossing it over with, I just love to have a good time. But in the end, I wasn't having a good time anymore. And
yeah,
so I was like, I came to the realization that I knew that this wasn't for me. Like
yeah,
this life wasn't for me. And I was meant to do more. There was
mm,
like this little tiny flame,
yeah,
little thing just inside there somewhere hiding, but it was still going,
yeah, even with all of the
and
knowing.
I could feel it,
Mm,
and kind of poke at me from time to time, and generally I'd be like, "Nah, shut up," and I'd like,
yeah,
uh, I'd push it back down again. But it got to the point where it just wasn't shutting up anymore. And I had to listen to it.
Yeah.
And but I didn't know where to start. I didn't know what to do. And so I decided, I was like, okay, like I need to do something. I need to do something that is something that I've never done before, that's really extreme,
Mm.
opposite to what I'm doing now, in order for me to change my life. I didn't know what that was. I didn't know what that looked like. I was just kind of flailing wildly. And but that was my decision at that
Mm.
point. I made that decision. And then I remember like scrolling through Facebook. This was after I made that, internal
Decision. Yeah.
decision.
Yeah.
And I came across the race called Tough Mudder.
No, but I can imagine is it like
It's like one of those obstacle races with
yeah.
mud.
Yeah.
You have to trade, like go through on your belly under barbed wire, and then you have to
There's like
climb these things.
fire and all the things.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. All the
Yeah.
things, right? Um, and it was like 20 kilometers or something, right?
Mm.
And you can imagine like someone like me at that point
Mm.
trying to do something physical, like running and then jumping over and it was like I was so unfit. Like I was
Mm.
party girl, like that. I
Yeah.
was really good at partying, right?
Yeah.
But that's what I was good at. Not being physical, not being healthy in any way, shape, or form, right?
Mm.
But it was really interesting because as I was looking at this video
Mm.
advertisement for Tough Mudder,
Yeah.
I started crying.
Wow.
Like, what? Like, at first, I was like, why am I crying at watching people like run through mud and jump over obstacles? Like, it's so weird. And then I
Yeah.
was like, the realization came to me that was it, like me crying, me feeling emotions at watching these people do what they were doing
Mm-hmm.
was my sign
To do
that
it.
that was the thing that I needed to do and try
Yeah.
to achieve in order to start making the
Oh,
changes I needed to
got
make,
chills
right?
all over. Yeah.
So I was like, okay, fuck it. Like, and I bought a ticket to do it, right?
That's
And so I
awesome.
had like a year. It was a year
Mm-hmm.
that I had until the Tough Mudder race where I had to get fit enough, strong enough, all the things so
Yeah.
that I could actually complete this race. And so I started doing it because I bought the ticket and I
Mm-hmm.
had a year and I was like, okay, like I've made up my mind. I gotta make this work. I
Yeah.
can't just buy a ticket and then not do anything, go to the race and then die halfway through the race. Because like
Totally.
I can't do it.
Right,
So
right.
I started taking myself to, every morning I started going to the local park and just doing exercises. Like I got like a simple body weight exercise workout online, and I just followed that,
Cool.
and then I started seeing changes and started
Yeah.
feeling different, started eating differently.
Wow.
And then, I got to the point where I was kind of like plateauing with my fitness, just doing what I was doing. So I was like, all right, I gotta join something. And then a friend told me about CrossFit. And then that was like the beginning of the
Game.
end of like fitness. Like
Yeah.
um I fell in love with it because it was so extreme and it was so hard. And I was like, oh my God, like I love this. It was almost like I went from, the extreme of like drugs and all that sort of like going really hard partying to just going really hard exercise.
Yeah,
And that
yeah.
was my new coping mechanism or something, my new drug, right?
Sounds like a bit healthier though.
It's way more healthy, for
Yeah.
sure, for sure. Although you can definitely take exercise to extreme levels, which where is not healthy for you as well. Like balance
Yeah.
is good and moderation is
Yeah.
good, across the board.
How
But yeah, like
amazing, like I mean just the fact that you were able to follow that voice, that little inspiration, that little
yeah,
flame. And like the power of
yeah.
decision. Like it's like
Mhm.
if you
Mhm.
hadn't made that decision, you might have not thought twice about this Facebook post.
I just, you know what? I
Yeah.
really feel like there's something or someone, I don't know what's out there or here or whatever, but that would have never let me
Fail.
continue
Yeah.
what in the way that I was going,
Yeah.
down that life path where
Mm.
I was just like wasting away.
Yeah.
Um, on so many different levels. There, I just feel like I don't know whether it was me or whether I was being looked after
Yeah.
or
Divinely
or what.
guided.
Yeah, like maybe it was just my higher self or whatever. I don't even know. Like I don't profess to know anything about what we can't see,
Mm.
but I do feel, I believe that there's spirits or energies that can help us, like whether that's true or not, I can't say 100%, but
Yeah.
there have been many times in my life, especially after I made that particular decision
Mm.
and years after, where I felt like I wasn't alone
Yeah.
when it was just me by myself,
Mm.
like, and whether that's just me making stuff up or to make myself feel better or whatever.
Yeah, I think if you
It
feel
doesn't
it, you
matter.
feel it. Yeah, yeah. It's
Yeah,
like we'll never
it
really
doesn't matter
know.
either way.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter either way. For me, like if it helps you get through those tough times, who cares if it's real or not,
Mm.
you know?
Well, and I think
So
but to bring it back to belief, it's like it's real for you, you know?
yeah,
So
exactly. Yeah.
that's
And
that's
that's all
what
that matters.
matters.
Like
Yeah.
if it's a healthy belief that can get you through tough times and make you be a better human, help you help others, all that sort of stuff. Like if the intention is good behind it,
Mm-hmm.
then
Yeah.
great. Who
That's the
cares
most
what it looks
important
like?
part.
Who cares?
Yeah.
And who cares what you look like to other people as well? Like
Yeah. No,
it really doesn't
that's a
matter.
whole nother conditioning thing.
Oh my God. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, thank you so
Yeah.
much for sharing that part of your story. I know that there's probably so much more that we could go into. I have just like a couple more questions for you. So, when you
Yeah.
were in the church, were you involved in music or is that something that you came across after you got out?
Well, we would have to go to meetings at least twice a week. And in those meetings, you would always sing three songs, right? So one at the start, and then we'd sit down and, there'd be discourse by an elder or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then, an hour would go past, and then you'd stand up and sing another song, sit down, do another hour of more discourse. And then at the end, you would finish with another song, right?
Yeah.
So, in that way, music was involved
Yeah.
at the church, and everyone would sing,
Mm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
But there wasn't like bands or
Yeah.
anything like that.
Okay. Like
Just
instruments.
like a backing tape, basically, and
Okay.
then everyone would sing. But growing up, my mum had this beautiful voice, like
Mm.
just incredible voice. And I think part of her trauma, her childhood trauma and
Mm.
like anxiety, because she had quite a horrendous upbringing as
Mm.
well, just in different ways to me.
Yeah.
But she developed a lot of anxiety and good reason. And I think one way that she coped with that anxiety was by singing.
Mm.
And so she would sing constantly, like
Wow.
all the time. She'd always be singing. She was a homemaker.
Yeah.
She was a stay-at-home mum,
Yeah.
and she would, she'd either be cooking, cleaning, gardening, something in the house,
Mm-hmm.
and it would always be accompanied by song.
Mm.
And because she had this beautiful voice, it was always like welcome to hear, right?
Yeah.
For me as a kid growing up,
Mm.
so I grew up with that, with my mum with this beautiful
That's
voice
cool.
singing all the time.
Yeah.
And I would, end up singing with her. And so, like,
Mm.
there was this duet going on a lot of the time.
That's so
And
cool.
yeah, so that was basically where my love of music and song and singing came from.
Yeah.
Now it's, I never would have dreamed that I would be using my voice in this way, like in
Mm.
the way that I do. Like, I guess, even my mum would be channeling back then, but she wouldn't have called it that,
Sure.
like
Sure.
it
She's
would have
just
just been singing and she would
yeah.
have, been in the moment and loved it and whatever. Although she never, she never made up songs or anything where, like I feel like when you're really channeling, it's just, whatever comes through just comes through and you're kind of in the moment, and
Yeah.
it's nothing that you've kind of created beforehand to then do. So maybe in that way it's different because when I'm in session now, I'm just it's all on the fly, right?
Mm,
Like and it takes over me, and it's incredible. Like it's beautiful. And
mm,
I, if you would have told me like years ago that I would be doing this with my voice now,
yeah.
what I'm, yeah, I would have told you you're crazy. But yeah, it's incredible the development and the evolution of
Yeah.
someone that chose to kind of look at themselves a bit more, I guess.
Well, even when you first got out, like you could say that partying was maybe not the best choice, but also like it sounds like being in a rock band probably gave you purpose, and that was like the reason for it all, right? And that the
Yeah,
lifestyle stuff, that's just kind of that I won't say today maybe it's different, but like in it's just always kind of come with rock and roll, right? Like that's
yeah, yeah,
but
yeah.
still I think that's just so cool that call it good or bad, like music was still there for you.
Yeah, it's been there in all its iterations. It's really interesting when I look back on it now because
Mm,
it's like it could have, it was never an option for
yeah,
it not to be there. You know,
yeah.
no matter what state of mind I was in, there was always gonna be music, which
Yeah.
is pretty cool. Like if you think about how powerful that is, like
Hmm.
music in itself, the power that it has for it to be there regardless,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
it does take on every form, it takes on every emotion that there is, it takes on every feeling and every state of mind and every, like, everything, so of course it's got that power to infiltrate no matter whether you're feeling shit or whether you're feeling amazing,
Yeah.
like
And
it
it can still
penetrates
be.
penetrates any everything.
Yeah. Yeah. It's really, thank you for sharing that about your mom too. And I know she's really special to you. And it's just, it's so cool how it does pass down, from generation to generation. And it just touches everybody. It's not just like
Yeah,
you and your mom, but I feel like that is just, yeah, more about what we're talking about here is like there's something to it that can always be very comforting, whether it's a way of to express yourself in a place of non-expression or even in the most freest form, it's still available.
yeah,
So I have one question that I like to ask everybody on the show, and
sure.
I want to know if there is one song or multiple songs that have saved your life or changed your life in a very significant way.
Yes, I did have a think about that when we first connected and had a chat, and I was like, "Oh my God, like
I know
what
it's
the
a hard question.
heck?" Ah, because yeah, I mean, different parts of my life, there have been songs that I've been obsessed with, and they've changed, over the
Yeah.
course of my life. But one that comes to mind that kind of really, I think, helped my musicality bloom within me
Mm.
so much was Jeff Buckley, The Last Goodbye. Have you heard of Jeff Buckley?
I know Jeff Buckley. Yeah, he had a
Yeah,
beautiful voice.
yeah,
Yeah.
incredible. He
Yeah.
was like my angel.
Mm.
I was a teenager at the time, and yeah, when I first heard him, I was just like, yeah, it touched me for
Yeah.
sure. I was obsessed with
His
Jeff Buckley
his
for a very
performances were connecting to definitely
mm.
something higher.
Oh yeah,
Like,
he was channeling for sure. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I know.
So yeah, I would have to say him just for that goodness part of me, that
mm,
angelic part of me that you that connected to that, right? I
yeah.
really, when I think of him and his voice, I feel like heavenly angel, like
It's
that.
soulful. Yeah.
And then because I was a very angry teenager as well, Skunk Nancy, just like any of her stuff. Skunk Nancy was like a was it prog rock? Not prog rock. It's kind of heavy rock. I can't remember
Yeah.
the term that was used, but have you heard of Skunk Nancy?
No, I haven't. I'm gonna look it up.
Yeah, so Skin as a female, like British lead singer, shaved head, but yeah, like just
Like punk rock,
power, like
totally. Yeah.
just yeah, like absolute, like, and she projected my anger
Mm.
beautifully, you
Mm-hmm.
know, and I would just go off at her songs, like in my bedroom by myself, like, but it just felt so good, and it was
Yeah.
like a release, you know.
Totally cathartic. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's probably two extreme examples of,
Cool.
artists that kind of impacted me in a
Yeah.
in a way. So
Cool. Thank you for sharing those.
yeah, of course.
I know I feel similar, like different phases of my life. It
Mm,
changes all the
mm,
time.
yeah.
So I luckily haven't had someone ask me that question yet, but I think I touched on it twice earlier on in the podcast. So, it changes for me too. But I like just depending on where my head's at, if I'm thinking back to like
Of
this
course.
era of
Yeah.
my life versus that. So, but it's cool to have that to draw upon to see like how how we've changed and evolved. And
Mm,
I'm sure that you still feel like if you listen back to that music, you can still feel something. It might not be the same thing that you felt
for
at that
sure.
time, but
Yeah, yeah,
you're probably still
absolutely.
connected to it in some way.
We'll always be connected.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
awesome. Well, is there anything that I didn't get to cover today that you wanted to chat about or shout out? I know you have your retreat coming up in September,
Ah,
and
yes, very cool. So my partner and I think there's one room left. So if you feel the pull, peeps, let us know. My partner's name is Shannon Valance. She's running the retreat, and I kind of do support. And a friend of ours, Louise' friend, is also running support. And yeah, it's almost full. We've got one room left, which means either a single person or two people that might want to join in. But yeah, we're covering shadow work. My partner's going to be doing like teaching how to connect to the mother, like channeling, that kind
mm,
of stuff. Lou's a qualified like sex counselor. She's going to be talking about, because there's a lot of later in life women that are coming,
mhm,
especially, and Lou will be focusing about connecting in with pleasure
mm,
again, because especially for women, that's something
yeah, as
that,
our bodies change and
yeah, as our bodies
yeah,
change, or like not just that, the fact that a lot of heterosexual like marriages, the women tend to not be as fulfilled in
mm,
that department as the men are, because there is very little kind of education for both sides on
yeah,
female anatomy and how to pleasure them. So
yeah,
there's a lot missing for women there, and especially in the older generations,
mm,
even more so. Probably
yeah.
not so much now. There's a lot more education around that
Yeah,
now,
it's
but
more openly talked about, it seems.
yeah, for sure, for sure. So we've got Lou talking about connecting back in pleasure. So that's going to be cool. We're doing like fire ceremony, water ceremony. I'll be doing sound healings. Yeah, it's packed. Oh, we're actually, because it's decriminalized here and we're allowed to do it, we're going to be doing a mushroom ceremony as
Cool.
well, which is always like mind blowing for participants. Yeah, and it's going to be epic. Our retreats always are. There's always like happy attendees every single time.
Amazing.
Everyone always is happy.
How do you guys do them?
We're upping the ante a little bit. I think we want to do like two a year or three a year. But we've been doing like one a year previous to that. So, but yeah, just upping the ante now because it feels like it's time to do so, and
Yeah, people
there's
are
there's
craving that.
calls for it. So yeah, Yeah. So
Awesome.
yeah, that's in a place called Penedès, which is an hour away from Barcelona in Spain. So
Awesome.
yeah, you can reach out to me, reach out to Shannon Valence, which is my partner, if you're interested, if you want to know more, you can absolutely
Perfect.
do that.
And
And
ways to reach you. I know I'll link all of your contact information below, but if
amazing.
there's a
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
preferred channel or like,
Preferred channel? Oh, look, probably just email the
okay,
frequencydj@gmail.com. But yeah, also if you want to delve into my frequency tracks,
yeah,
the frequency DJ in Bandcamp and the frequency DJ on Insight Timer as well. And yeah, they're amazing apps. And I've got all my tracks there. You can listen for free as many times as you want, as often as you want. But there's also options to donate on Insight
nice.
Timer or purchase to download on Bandcamp as well. So you have those options, but yeah, they're there for free if you want to listen,
And
basically.
if you have the means to support, it's definitely worth purchasing and downloading.
Always,
Yeah,
of course. Yeah.
yeah,
I mean, like it's always welcome if people are able to support for sure. But it's not necessary. And I do it so that, I can reach as many people as possible that might need a bit of a helping hand with whatever they're going through. So
that's so
it's there for
awesome.
you. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Ruth, for coming on my show today.
My
And
pleasure. It was great being here. Thank you for
yeah, and for all of our listeners, thank you so much for tuning in. Please share what resonated with you. Go check out Ruth's music and her tracks on Bandcamp or Insight Timer. And yeah, comment, share this message, share this episode with a friend if you found it helpful in any way. And until next week, stay healthy, wealthy, and wise.